Now, these 5 sentences contain a fact and they contain a value. Or they may contain only facts or they may contain only values. My question, I would pick any one of you. I'm going to ask you what is the fact and what is the sentence in this sentence. So with Adnan Bhai, I'm going to ask him. We start with him. The sun exists and is God. What is the fact here and what is the value here?
ये तो मसूफ सिफात है
Exactly.
इसका first part अगर आप individually देखेंगे तो sun exists.
So just tell me what is the fact and what is the This is very important.
Sun exists, right?
Yes. So that is a fact.
Yeah.
And is a God is a value. Is a value, right? You put a value on that statement. It's not a fact. It depends on somebody who's thinking.
It's not a fact, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to a stone falls back to the ground because of gravity. So you tell me, what portion is a fact and what portion is a value
Of the sentence.
of the sentence? Or is the whole sentence a fact?
The whole sentence is a fact.
Okay.
Stone is a fact.
Stone is a
Falling is a
fact.
fact.
Gravity
Back
is
is a
a
fact.
fact.
Gravity is. Ground is.
Okay, so the whole thing is a fact. Okay. I'm fine.
But there's a value too.
Okay, hold on. Okay, no, let's not discussing. I'm just okay. Alexander was a great king.
Alexander was is a fact.
No, Alexander was king.
Not a great. Great is a value.
Great king is a value.
Great king
Okay.
is a value.
Fine. His son inherited his good look. It's his genes. So, what is a fact and what is the value here? You want to take a chance?
Genes are the fact and good looks are relative.
Perfect. Fire
What
burns.
about sun? Maybe it's a value.
Fire burns. Fire
That is not a fact.
fire burns. You are very close. You don't know what you just said.
Acha bhai.
Fire burns
It's a fact.
is a fact. So you see, all of what you have said is not wrong. Just let me tell you that. But we have all stated what is the predominant thinking. So I will start with this and this one. The sun exists and is God. That is correct. The sun exists is one fact and is a God, is a value. A Hindu believes is a God. I don't. So it's a value placed on it. But okay, so the sun exists. Is it a fact?
For idealist, it's not.
Correct. So when someone says the sun exists, let me tell you what it actually, there's an underlying presumption there, which you have to be very careful when you are talking to someone. And the only way you can know that is when you know that person. You can't know that without just looking at the sentence. This is where the hikmah, I'm connecting it to something very important here. This is where the hikmah is in the oral transmission of the Quran. Otherwise, Allah Ta'ala would have just given us a mushaf and that's it. What was the emphasis on an oral transmission too? So let me tell you, the sun exists. If that statement is said by Dawkins, you know what he means? He means, Richard Dawkins is saying, that is it. There's nothing there. Meaning the sun exists and then one day it is going to disappear and that's it. He's what? He's a realist. Hawkins is a realist. Penrose is an idealist. The sun exists. For Ibn Taymiyyah is what? Is a creation of God, of Allah. So the sun exists is not a value-free, is not a value-free statement. Is a fact, yes. But underlying that statement is a value. And this is where when we are talking with people, this is where people forget and then they start arguing. Because actually, if someone starts arguing saying, I don't believe the sun exists, and he says, no, the sun exists, and then they argue on it, right? But if you understand the underlying assumption, then there's no argument. If I'm a Muslim, I am going from a different viewpoint. For a realist, he's coming from a different viewpoint. There can be nothing. How can you connect the two? Let's look at this one. His son inherited his good looks. It's his genes. This is a biological statement, right? His son, yeah, we inherit something from our parents. We know that. Everybody knows that. Is it because of the gene? The gene is a modern construct. What did Aristotle think about? How did Aristotle explain inheritance? I'm not going to the details about it. I'm just asking you to think about how did 4,000 years ago, when the concept of genes did not exist, how did people explain inheritance? They had their explanation, right? I'm not saying it's right or wrong. That's not the point here. They had their version of truth. So this is not a fact. It is based on the value system that is predominant at that time. A stone falls back to the ground because of gravity. Same thing. A stone 10,000 years ago somebody threw up in the air, it fell down. Yes? We all agree? Did they have an explanation for it? They did. They thought, angels were dropping it back. I'm just making that up for you. Or there was a wizard who let it, fall back. Right? Today, we have come with an explanation of gravity. But has anyone ever seen a gravity? I'm not saying it's wrong. Look, let me emphasize this. I'm not against science. People will come back and say, I'm not anti-science. I am saying is, even though these sentences look factual, they are based on some underlying assumptions. They are based on some underlying core beliefs. Don't mix those things up.
Yeah, but people of that time, they thought that whatever they're assuming is right, and people today, they have gravity and other explanations, and they believe very strongly
That this is right.
this is the truth.
So how is it for us to know 1,000 years from now, this explanation will look stupid?
1,000 years is a big number, maybe 10 years.
I don't know. I'm just saying in the future.
Quantum is developing. How fast the quantum understanding is developing, it's going to be pretty old things.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So the question here, Alexander was a great king. Yeah, Alexander existed. That's a historical fact. Was he a great king? This is very easy. Great is a relative term, right? Value is a fully loaded concept, term there. So fire burns. Again, fire burns. Everybody accepts that. But why does it burn? How does it burn? It's not every age, every civilization had an explanation for that. Today, we have an explanation that, oxygen mixes with, whatever, and then, it burns the skin, and then, you have a doctor here who will give you the whole theory of, burn. Go to a burning specialist. So the question is, there's a chemical reaction. The point I'm trying to make here is, even though we think that they are facts, these are not facts. Facts are based on some presumptions. And if you don't understand those presumptions, what is going to happen is you are going to be misled.
So, Adnan bhai, how do you distinguish between these viewpoints and the consciousness? Nowadays consciousness is very much discussed.
Yes.
So this is what they are saying. God is nothing but our collective consciousness.
Okay. So that you see. So what basically that statement? Let's look at that statement. God is nothing but our collective consciousness.
There's a process behind it. What you just said, there's a process behind it. The process is, if you ask the same question about God and consciousness to a 5-year-old, he's not be intrigued. He will not be impressed with your question. Neither you will make him think. And neither he is capable of thinking that. Human mind, the scope of human mind about reality grows to a point that he becomes seriously concerned to know, is there a God or not? So first, that person has reached this point or not. That's significant to know. If that person has reached the point, now the thing is, whatever he developed over the years, let's assume that person is alcoholic or a drug addict. Now he realizes, oh, there's a God. And he comes to know that what I'm doing was wrong. So is he going to leave that? So what happens that now his thoughts are influenced with his desires. When the thought is influenced with desire, it's going to come up with explanations like that to get rid of it. First, he will try to convince himself. And then that bug will keep on bugging him for the rest of his life. Then he starts influencing others to satisfy himself. And he will never get satisfied.
So what he just said is these theories, these explanations, this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not in one place, not in two places, in many places, in many ayahs in the Quran, he has said, have you seen those who have taken the ilaha as their God?
Hawa.
The Hawa as their God, sorry. Hawa means desire, their nafs. So what is happening here is, when we come with explanations, we should be very careful about this thing, how we come with explanations. That's the value. This is the value we are talking about. When we explain things, how do we come up to that? And what we have just looked at is there are certain basic ideas from which these values come about. Either you believe in Allah or you reject Allah. That's the first one, right? And then when you reject Allah as the source of your guidance, of your hidayah, then you have all those theories we came up about. Okay? So, I mean, that's all I'm going to say about, these things. I hope this is clear to everyone, how these ideas shape our values. We think they are facts, they are not facts. They are shaping our facts. That doesn't mean facts do not exist. Somebody don't go and tell me that I'm denying facts do not exist. Facts are facts. But facts do not, you cannot, just like data. Today's world, you have data, right, in the database. But to make meaning out of the data, you have to analyze it in a framework. That's what happens. Facts exist. The universe exists. The dunya exists. We exist. How do we accept our existence is based on all those things that we just came about.
Fact and value, actually, if you see that, human mind doesn't interpret it so black and white, when we interpret a fact, we put some value on it as well,
That's
And
always
it's
the
been
case.
changing over the period of time,
That's correct.
For sun exists, okay, it's a fact, fine. But you see, over the period of time, people have a different value.
To the sun.
Some
Exactly.
reach to the extent it's a god, and some things that it's just gases.
Exactly.
There's no solid mass in it, actually.
That-
It's just gases.
Or so there are some people who think it's an illusion. It doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, anti-realists.
Maya,
Hindus.
Hindus, it doesn't exist. It's just an illusion.
They think sun is an illusion.
They're correct. Everything is an illusion.
It's
And what is the modern?
illusion and reflection of God.
So what? So question. What is the modern theory? Modern name of this Maya?
Materialism.
No, we went through that. Anybody? What is the modern name of Maya? That is displayed in the matrix. Yes. Solipsism,
Solipsism.
simulated reality, holographic universe, are all examples of Maya, illusion. Matrix the movie, for those who weren't here, is all about the fact that somebody is living in a simulated reality. How does he get to know the absolute reality? Right? That's the whole point of Matrix.
Yeah, the idea is that reality can exist virtually, and the existence of reality is not. It can be based in your mind only.
Exactly. That's solipsism. That's Maya. So all of this, the common presumption in the above ideas is the fact that we have denied that Allah is the source of Hidayah. And the mind or the empirical senses is the source of your interpretation of the facts. So let's go to the next